Hi everyone. Had an interesting game recently I thought I would share with you. Actually, I was trying to record this game. It's too bad I would have liked to have done this one live. But after I had set up the recording and asked for a game, the network connection went down. So I stopped the recording. And then when I went back to the window to see what was going on, the connection had come back and a game had already started. I was behind on the time. Anyway, we chatted a little bit, you can see here, and we got the game going. My opponent lost a little bit of time too because he didn't notice that I had responded right away. So let's see, he played here at the 4-4 point, and I played at the 4-4 point. Notice my opponent had a rating of 17Q, and my rating at the time was 16Q, so pretty comparable ratings. And let's see, he continues by playing with the 4-4 point, and I went with the 4-3 point here. And I don't have any big idea in playing this kind of setup. I mean, I could play the low Chinese with a move at J3. That's what the name of this would be if I got in that move. But mainly I play 4-3 here just to have a little bit of asymmetry. I don't like to have it be exactly the same on all the corners. So he approached here. He did a high approach, and I did a back off. I saw in a video once the normal approach, or the most common approach. That's a very normal approach too. The most common approach is actually the knight's move, and then the most common way to respond is a knight's move back off. And so I had sort of been responding that way to all approaches. But I think Nick Sabicki pointed out that if someone approaches up high, you can respond up high, and that's a reasonable way to respond. You don't have to back off as much. If he's coming in high, you come in high as well and fight for influence towards the center, I guess. Let's see, and then he responded with the attach, which I thought was a little strange, but I looked it up in a Joseki dictionary, and it turns out to be the normal move. So let's take a look at this. So I had a stone at the 4-4 point. He did a high approach, and I did a back off. And you can see that was the top choice there. And in fact, the knight's move back off is not even a valid response here as far as Joseki are concerned. So I backed off that way, and then he attached here. And there are other moves he could have tried. He could have tried jumping into the corner. But it does say white B through E are not recommended. So A is the main move there for sure. And then the Hane is normal. And then normally white extends in this direction. So we actually diverged from the Joseki at this point because he went in the other direction. But if he had gone this way, then I would respond this way. And it looks like a pretty normal Joseki from that point, where black gets this side and white gets this side, and it looks pretty fair. And black got to keep the corner. He played in a different way. He extended in this direction. So let's show how the game went. So I actually played the main move, and let's see, he extended that way instead of going up here and making this little formation with 3 stones. And well, I just made a tiger's mouth. I'm not interested in fighting for the corner. I just want to kind of secure this and then free myself to go play somewhere else. And that's what I did. He felt compelled to play one more stone. Notice if he had a stone on R5 here instead of his stone on S4, then he wouldn't have to play any other moves. That would be enough, I guess. But as it is, I've made a solid formation here, and he's got kind of weakness because he extended in this direction. So he played one more stone over in this corner, and then I left and played over here, approaching his stone in the opposite corner. Now, he could consider attacking, but I think this is still okay. I just have to be a little bit careful. If he had played this and I defended, oh, he's kind of cutting me off here. I don't know. Maybe he can attack this group here. It's not clear to me that this is going to work out well, but I could have done something like this. I could have blocked to keep him from coming in and sacrifice that stone. And then if he fills in, I could get something like this where I have a share of the corner and I have influence towards the side. That's probably okay. But in any case, it didn't seem like there was any urgent need to keep playing here, and I think it's important to take these opportunities to play away and look for those big moves on the board when you can make them. They can make the difference in the game in the long run. Let's see. So he responded with an attach on top, and this is another one I wanted to look up because it's not one that I'd seen before. And there's kind of a funny comment here. Okay, so that was a 4-4. I approached with a low approach, and he attached on top, which is the move D here. And what does it say about D? It says D is called the tsuke nobi joseki. Tsuke is just attach. That's the Japanese word, the word they use when you do an attachment. Its shape also occurs on the side without corner. I guess that means if this stone was over on the side and I did a low approach, knight's move approach, he could also attach on top. Kyu and low dan players should totally avoid playing this variation, regard it as a bad move, and instead play a extension or a pincer, which are what I usually play. So it's just interesting. It doesn't quite say why they should regard it as a bad move, but and it doesn't look too bad going through the joseki, so maybe it's something you can confuse people with. They won't expect it. So the first step. Okay, oh, well, here's a little explanation. It says this move should be played only if black has a big moyo on the top side. So I guess these two stones would join in. If there's a group over here on the top side, they would be extending it, so it makes sense. The aim of this joseki is to make shape quickly. The approach is defensive. White continues with A. So basically, it seems like black is getting a fair amount of space here, and white is holding on to the side. Let's see, black continues with A or B. Let's say he goes with A. Then I could hane here. He fills in, and then I could connect or extend. And let's see, he can actually cut here. I can extend, and he can go this way. Okay, and it stops there. It seems like, yeah, he's got. I can extend once more. Huh? Seems like I get influence on the side, and he gets influence towards the corner and towards the top. The corner is still open, I guess, to invasion. So he hasn't totally secured the corner. Anyway, that would be the normal joseki, or one of them. Let's see, what else could he play here? That's A. I go here. He defends. I go here. He could also just block that way and hold on to the corner without giving up any territory and giving me the side. Yeah, so different ways for it to go from there. But it seems like, oh, and after the hane, he could also play here. And then I could look at jumping into the corner or just extending. Anyway, all those seem to be playable to me. I'm not sure why Q players should be avoiding that. But that was the comment I thought was kind of funny. Okay, well, let's just go on with the game now. So not knowing this, I just started looking at the corner immediately. I wasn't sure it was safe to go all the way into the corner at this point. I thought he might block. And sometimes this works. Sometimes you can kind of sneak around like this. But he has this helper stone here that is not there in other variations. So I'm not sure this would be so good. It seems like he's able to atari this stone and kind of keep me low. So that doesn't look so great to me. So I thought I would just attach underneath here. And then he blocked the corner. But I made his corner a little bit smaller. And I extended that way. And then did a hane on the stone where he had attached. And he extended, and I made a tiger's mouth. So again, I'm just trying to make a decent shape here that's not so easy for him to attack. I've sort of accomplished what I wanted to. I pushed him back a little bit in the corner, and I've made some influence towards the side. So he played one more stone over here. I thought he didn't really need to do that. I thought he could be thinking about playing big moves at this point. So yeah, here's my chance. I decided this was a free move, and or a sente move. I get to play wherever I like, and I chose to just secure the corner. That's a little bit conservative. A bigger move would be, an extension here. Yeah, going with the Chinese joseki idea, or a Chinese fuseki, the Chinese opening. Play a stone here and make a big claim to this side of the board, or trying to break up his side. Black has a big side over here and a big side over here, or just approaching this stone. But I just secured the corner first. I think all those are probably valid approaches. Now, black does make a big claim to this side, and I feel like I really need to respond to black now. So this is, probably getting critical at this point. So I go with an approach. Once again, I could have kind of gone in the middle maybe. But I thought, well, if he defends, I can I can make a base over here and try eat up this territory from the inside. But he did an attach on top again. So the Hane I think would be good here because if I get influence, I won't make much territory, but I also will prevent him from building any big territory as well. But anyway, I was still looking at the corner at this point, and so I came into the corner. He blocked this way. I made a tiger's mouth, and so I didn't want to lose that stone. I wanted to connect and keep some influence, and he cuts here. So I think that's probably, this one did not work out so well for me, I have to say. Although I do manage to save things, but we'll see. I think he kind of let me off the hook. Because he's extending here, and I can't really win those stones. I thought for a second I might be able to capture them, but he's got 3 liberties, and I only have 2, so he's always going to win that capturing race. So I end up sacrificing that stone, but I did want to block him and not let him keep extending there. And I wanted to try and, he's cut my stones apart. I was looking for ways to try and make sure I stay connected. And I never did find a way. But at this point, I'm faced with a choice of losing these 2 stones or losing this one. I decided to keep those 2 and try and survive by running out to the center. And let's see, he goes after this stone. I think he needed to do that. I might eventually, if I get strong enough, I really can capture those stones. So at some point he has to surround my stone and be ready to take it at the appropriate moment. And I decided I wanted to save these stones over here in the corner too. So I make an Atari on that stone. He defends, and I Hane. So I'm just trying to grab a small space in the corner, and then I play back here. So black gets Sente out of this, and I don't think, maybe black should do something about these stones here. They're looking a little bit weak and surrounded. But I think his next move was a mistake. I think he could have, I had to play an extra move just so I didn't get killed here. And he should probably take advantage and play a big move somewhere else. Instead, he kept attacking in the corner, and I can block, and then he connected, so I can't escape. So he's totally blocked me in, but he did kind of, he gave Sente to me. It's now my turn, and so I can make an extra move over here to save these 3 stones, and I take that opportunity. I'm feeling much better about this. I think they have, they can't really make a base easily, but they can live in the center here. This is all open space. I don't think that's going to be a big problem at this point. And he blocks from this side. I mean, the other thing is if I get strong here, I'm also threatening to attack these stones. There's a cut here, and then he's only got 2 liberties after that. So he blocks. I jump. I want to make sure that I gain space quickly with these stones, because you have to have a fair amount of space in order to be able to make the 2 eyes to live. And he attaches again. And at this point I was really noticing how much my opponent here really loves to attach. So I just wanted to make the point that even though the attachments have worked out for him so far, I don't think he's in bad trouble. I think eventually this love of constantly attaching is going to be his downfall. So this is one of those philosophical things about Go. You shouldn't get too attached to any one style, and no pun intended. Sorry about that. But you have to kind of go with whatever is available to you on the board. You should be looking for the best moves, not just giving into moves you like to play. So, for example, say you always love to have the corners, and you always fight to own the corners in every game. Well, you play an opponent who also wants the corners, and you just end up with some big fight. That's probably not the best way to do it. If your opponent is in love with the corners, maybe you should just surround him, let him have those corners, and take all that big space on the sides and in the middle. You've got to be a little bit philosophical when you play Go, and not get upset by your opponent's moves, but just look at what their advantages are and what their disadvantages are, and try and take advantage of it. Anyway, that's a little Go philosophy for you. I wedged in between these 2 stones. I'm just going to try and create some weaknesses, and we'll see that this becomes useful later. He caps, or he Ataris my stone, and I fill it in, and then he extends. So he kind of gained a tempo, but I gained a cutting point there, which is actually pretty useful. And then I start extending in the other direction. I want to kind of extend in both directions to build a shape here. And I use this opportunity to Atari that stone. And and I think he didn't need to let me cut, or I was expecting him to fill in here, so I went ahead and took that stone when he didn't defend it. Well, I don't keep it. For a second, I thought, oh, this is good. I'm going to capture these two stones, but of course he can just capture back my stone since I played another move, and so I didn't really gain anything by that, and I end up just capping here. So that was some wasted moves by me, but I think he wasted an equal amount of time there, so probably no big deal. And I did manage to extend out a little bit, and now I jump. And I think this is a good way to build space. You notice I used a jump on this side, and I'm jumping on this side. And this stone here is also looking potentially at breaking into this area and breaking up Black's territory over here. And once again, my opponent attaches. he just loves to attach. So I think a better move here would be maybe playing at a diagonal from that stone. Just back a little bit to protect this space, but not come into direct conflict. But anyway, he attached, and I extended because I didn't want this stone getting cut off. And now he extended here. So he's also protecting that cut point there by extending. And I just keep building out in this direction. I'm just expanding the space that I might try and lay claim to in the center. So he attached once again on this side. And I decided at this point, I was also playing over here with the idea I could potentially link up with these stones or exploit some weaknesses over here. So I started playing on the other side, pushing out on this side and maybe trying to create some weaknesses. He capped there, or he blocked, and then I filled in. He put my stone in Atari, and then he filled in that connection. He made that a solid connection there so I couldn't cut. I extended out here, creating another potential weakness there, and then I connected here. I didn't want my stones getting cut apart either. Let's see, and he extended in this direction. I guess he didn't want to leave these weak stones around, but this is a point where he might have considered jumping out from this side or from this side, trying to restrict my stones. But, well, I don't know. This extension makes some sense because he doesn't want to leave a weak stone behind as well. But I get to branch out some more, so that's the trade-off. He has a stronger stone here, but I'm gaining more space in the center. And once again, he attaches, and I branch out on this side. At this point, I was starting to think, well, this is looking good for me. I thought maybe I misplayed it up here, and Black probably could have done better by putting more pressure on this group before it got this big. But at this point, it's starting to feel pretty safe. And now I'm thinking of expanding my territory on the side and expanding my territory in the middle. And as I run these lines forward, he's sandwiched in between. He's not building much territory. So I thought this was all working out to my favor. Although he can go faster than I can because I'm trying to build two walls, and he really just needs to build one to harass me. So he gets ahead of me here. But I cut and I create weaknesses. And I hane this stone that he had earlier attached to my stone, and he blocks. Yeah, this hane was also looking at this cut here, so he protects the cut, and then I make a tiger's mouth. So I'm just building space on both sides, and I'm feeling pretty good about the game here. He hanes and I connect, and he hanes again. And now, I could start running around this way, but he would be able to build up a wall along here. And I had a couple of concerns with that. I thought, I didn't want him building a lot of territory here. He has some pretty big areas. He's successfully got this big area here, and he's got this area here, not entirely secure, but pretty well sketched out. And it's hard for me to invade there. Although maybe I am trying to reduce it. So that's why I left this group here, and I left this group here, and I started moving out from this direction. And so this has two aims. I'm trying to prevent him from developing any territory in this area. And I'm also looking at this side a little bit and trying to reduce it. So he capped. That keeps me from jumping out further. And I cut, and that's why I cut in this direction. Well, that's not a cut, but I mean, I'm going in between his two stones. because I'm trying to reduce this area over here, prevent him from getting too big on that side. He blocks, and I extend, and places another stone here. So he's developing a pretty solid wall. So this is becoming big territory for him. I poke through here. I want to create some weaknesses anyway, and then I extend. And now this stone is kind of cut off, so I'm going to try and exploit that. But he finds a nice way to save it. I never actually win any of his stones here. But he kind of keeps me boxed up with this move. But I create more weaknesses. I poke on this side, he blocks. I poke on this side, he blocks. Oh, he didn't block, he extended. I was thinking, yeah, if he blocked here, I would capture this stone. So he extended that stone, not wanting to give it up. But that gives me a Hane over here, which I take, and then I connect. So I think this is good. Starting with this step up here, I've actually gotten this group closer to these stones. And I've actually increased the area here because I'm now threatening to come in and connect. And it's not so easy for him to stop that. And he has to worry about these two stones a little bit. They're cut off if he wants to save them. If he doesn't save them, also, I am starting to develop some influence in this area here that might be dangerous. So he keeps extending, and I extend once more to make sure that he can't cut me apart, but these are going to be connected, and this is going to be my area here. He poked through my wall, and I blocked. So similar to what I was doing to him, he does the same thing to me. And then he starts limiting me by placing stones here. And I'm content at this point just to build a wall, because what I thought was that now I've got stones here, and I still have these here. And so he's got a wall, but it's not facing, any. It's not facing. It's facing my stones more than his stones. He doesn't have any stones out here he can build towards. So it's going to become a fight over this area. He could potentially place some stones out here and try and develop a big moyo and make some territory there. And with my stones, the way I've placed them, I'm going to try and poke into these areas and keep him from developing big territory there. But also at the same time, I have to make sure he doesn't destroy all of this area. Let's see. So I start with this move. I'm branching out. And once again, he attaches. And by this time, I'm pretty sure this attach is a big mistake. He really could stop me from expanding and build his area by playing just a little further away, playing back here, maybe, or even out here, further away, but also further away from his wall. He's got a big wall here. He can jump pretty far. And, if I try to come in, he can block me. And, maybe get some territory over here and limit what I can do. So this attachment, I think, is not helping his case. And I just place a stone on the other side. That keeps him from branching out from his wall and also puts pressure on this stone. Now let's see. He attaches once again, and I jump again. So now I'm sketching out some area over here. I think this is where the tide of the battle is really starting to turn. And it's because he's happy to do these attachments, but they're all facing his area, which is pretty small, and my stones are facing my area, which is large. So at this point, these attachments are helping me sketch out an area that's pretty big. Now, the biggest hole I have in my setup here is this stone here. It's already poked into my territory, and he extended here. I think that's probably a good move. It strengthens this stone, helps keep these stones connected, and he's threatening to just jump down in here and destroy my territory. So my idea is to build a wall on this side and on this side and just try and keep the damage limited. I can't really stop him from invading, but I can build territory for myself and limit the territory that he can build there. So once again, he attaches, so I get to build a wall on both sides. And this poke was a good move. It Ataris this stone, and then he attacks and Ataris this stone, and then he does another attachment over here, which I block. So he's managing to carve out a little bit of space for himself here. But then he lets me build this wall here. So now I'm pretty solidly owning this territory here and this territory here. So it's looking good for me, and also have some territory over here. And he could still fight in this area. But anyway, he is still worried about this group of stones. He doesn't really need to worry so much about these because they are connected all the way to here. Maybe he does. To here, to here. I was just trying to chase these connections. I guess it's connected all the way back to here, so he doesn't have to worry. If it was cut apart at some point, it might be without eyes, so I don't know if he had to worry so hard about making eyes here, but maybe he's just worried about me cutting and just reducing his space there. So anyway, he protected that cut, and then he Atari'd my stone, and I blocked. I gave up that stone. Although, to be honest, that was a mistake in that I didn't notice. When he played there, I just blocked. Didn't notice he had placed that stone into Atari. But I think that was a good move anyway, because if I had protected here, then he could just come out and say I block here, he keeps coming out, and if I block again and Atari those stones, he can just capture them. So he gains a few points doing that, whereas the way I played it, I just blocked here, he captures one stone, but he doesn't, then I can connect, and he doesn't gain anything further. So I think actually the way I played it was better. It was a good sacrifice, even if it was unintended. And then when he filled in and held on to that point, then I was able to play this move L1, which really reduces any amount of territory that he can get from this group. So all these stones are not really netting him any territory. All he's done really is reduce my territory. Let's see. So he blocks me out and makes as much space as he can. And I fill in this connection here, which is also an Atari, but I'm building a solid wall here. He connects, and then I play this attachment myself. I'm just finishing my wall. So now he can't really break in here anymore, and I've got pretty secure territory. So I think at this point, we are pretty much through with the middle game, and now we're into the end game phase, where it's all about cleaning up the borders. He's got a couple points there. He's securing. He plays this wedge over here, which I thought was interesting. I think this maybe gains him some points. I was a little bit worried about these three stones here. Well, we'll see. After the wedge, it was an Atari on that stone, and I connect. Then he played here, and now I noticed he could play to 05 on his next move and completely cut these four stones off from the rest of this group. But then I realized, oh, they're also connected to these stones, which are part of this group. So I'm okay, and I don't have to worry about those four stones. So I connected here, saving that stone and making sure this group is alive. He pushed forward, and I blocked, and then he, attacked on this side. He's just reducing my territory as much as possible. So these are typical end-game moves, and I think it's appropriate at this point in the game. So, let's see. He poked through, and I blocked it, and now he connected. He fixed here. So it's my turn, and I have a free move. So I have Sente once again, and I should look around for the biggest move. And I thought this was pretty good. There's this move here. It's not only expanding my area, but it's also in a double Atari, so I'm actually going to pick up a point or two over here. Let's see, he decides to save that stone, and I capture the other one, and he blocks, and I block here. I don't want him poking in and reducing my territory, and I actually gave up a couple of stones here. Yeah, my next move was a mistake. I played in here, and maybe I should have just, when he played here, let's see, I could have defended here. I could have blocked here and given up that stone. I could have connected here. I could have connected here. The move that I played, giving up one stone is not a big deal at this point. The move I played was here, and that's just a self-Atari. I thought I was attacking this stone, but I just put my stone in Atari, and he took it. So that was a wasted move, and I lost a couple points because of it. Let's see, I came back. Now that he's surrounded this group, this is starting to get weak. These 5 stones in a cross shape only have 2 liberties. So I connected there, so it's attached to this group and indirectly to the other side here. So I think this is pretty secure over here. He Ataris my stone, I connect, and then he takes over here, and I connect. So he maybe picked up a point or two by my careless play, but he had given away some points as well. So all that is a little bit for both. Let's see, I played here to make this area as large as possible. He fixed his cut, and I connected over here. So I'm just eliminating all the cutting points, solidifying the boundaries. He played here. That gives him as much space as he can get from this group. and I went, grabbed a point or two over here. He blocked. I fixed, and he blocked. He connected, and then I played here. So I'm fixing this corner cut here, and also I'm putting a stone on the third line in case. This is kind of a big gap here. Sometimes players might try to make a second line base here and something with two eyes and live here. So a few stones on the third line to prevent that. You can extend down and limit how far that can grow. So that's a useful dual purpose move. It also protects this cut. And now I think this area is entirely secure. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so at this point he tries to invade. Yeah, after the game I counted at this point. I said, well, what if we had just sort of paused at this point or passed and counted up who's ahead. And White's ahead. I'm ahead by about 10 points. So I think I've done a good job so far. He's got this huge area here, but I have an even bigger area over here. He's got a pretty big area here, but my area in the center is nearly as big. And then there's various smaller areas, like he's got this small area here and a few points here. I have this area here and this area here. But all in all, I'm about 10 points ahead. So he needs to invade, and it just doesn't work. But if he could make it work, I could always make a mistake, of course. Then, getting back 10 points is not out of the question with a successful invasion. I can make a small structure there that, easily gains him a few points and takes away. Let's see, he would have to get 2 points of territory for himself plus take 8 points away from me. And I think that's probably doable if he could live. But I don't think he can live. I just surround his stones and prevent them from growing too far. So this 4 stones in a row on the second line is not enough to live. It can only make one eye. And he tried to extend it as far as possible, but I can always play in the center there, and so that's really only one eye. So at that point, that was his last invasion. Then we did a little more cleanup. I don't know if this move at R1 was strictly necessary, but I just wasn't taking any chances. Sometimes there are little tricks in the corner there. So I was feeling comfortable enough ahead that I could play a safe move. And let's see, I let him patch that. If I was playing more aggressively, right, I could have tried to poke through here and win some more points that way. So I let him connect there, and then I started filling in the holes over here. And I think it's here. Yeah, everything is solid. We would get back to this issue of the fact that I made these pokes into his wall as it was being built, and he has all of these cuts. And so at this point, if White was behind, it might be a good idea to try and exploit that. And, I did. I actually I found a plan for invading here and played it. But I thought this would be a good point for you guys, if you wanted to take a look at this situation and see if you could figure out how you would proceed with White. The idea is to exploit these cutting points and see if you can invade in this area in any way. So if you want to think about that, why don't you pause the video here. I'm going to give the answer away now. There's probably more than one way to do this, but the idea that I came up with was to cut here. Yeah, so my first move was at R7 here. And this is a pretty dangerous, this is a big threat, is what I want to say. Because if you look at these stones, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's got 7 stones here. They're not connected to anything. If I had one more move, I'd place a stone there, and those would be dead. So this forces a response. He has to protect this group. And now if I continue attacking it, he can take my stone. And so I can't really win that group, but I gained a tempo there somehow. Let's see, I extended. I wanted to attack this stone on the other side, but I extended first. Because if I immediately attack the stone on the other side, then he can capture my stone. So I needed to extend so it wasn't an Atari. And now maybe he could protect the cut, but he went this way. Let's see, I wanted to check this. If he played here, could I try something like this? Say I go there, I'm threatening to kill that group. And then he takes that stone. and then I go here, and I'm threatening to kill this whole group, and he has to connect. Then I go here, and I have 3 liberties, and he only has 1, so I win all of these stones. Yeah, so it was a big threat. So when I extended here, let's go back to the game. So when I extended here, he couldn't protect this stone. He had to continue to attack my stones and protect his corner here. But then that lets me attack this stone. So he has to respond to that, or I will break through once again. So he extends that stone. And then the final cut that really breaks everything apart. If you want to see if you can spot the next move for white. Okay, pause the video if you want some time to think about it. I'm going to give the answer away. The next move is the cut at Q11 here. And that's a killer move because it's a kind of double Atari. First of all, it is an Atari on these stones, and but it's also threatening to kill these stones. So for example, if black protected those 2 stones, then white plays here. And then these stones are dead. They can't run out. There's nowhere for them to go. And my stones both have 2 liberties, so there's no time to kill my stones and nowhere for those stones to run. So he decided to protect the, let's see, I played the cut, and he decided to protect the larger group, a logical decision, but now I capture this group, and I've broken through. Once you've broken through the wall, all of this territory is no longer his territory. It becomes either neutral or maybe even mine if I do well. So, that's a huge turn of events. He played a couple more moves. He played 1 more move. I blocked, and then he resigned. But anyway, I thought that was a pretty interesting game. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you soon.